Hey everyone, welcome to the Alba Method and day 11 of our 30-day movement challenge. So today's class, we're continuing on with mobility. We're going to add some strength training into these shapes as well. Today's class is a multidisciplined approach, so we're incorporating some martial arts techniques as well as some locomotion exercises into our movement. Mobility is so important because even though we may have the strength and or flexibility to execute movement, we may lack range of motion in our big joint systems, and that prevents us from moving more effectively and safely. Remember to always listen to your body. Today, if you feel any sharp pain in the movement from a tweak or injury, be sure to back off and modify as needed. Today, you're just going to need your body and your mat. When you're ready, I'll meet you there. Okay, so today we're going to start in a seat. And I want you to bring your feet pretty wide out in front of you. And we're going to bring the hands on the knees for support. And using the hands on the knees, find some length through the spine and draw the shoulders up and back. And here we're just going to find a little cow and cat. So lifting the chest and kind of lifting the gaze, and then start to roll the shoulders down as you start to round through the spine. Using those hands on the knees for support. And start to just move with your breath, lifting the gaze and then rolling the spine in. Keeping those feet planted, feeling the hip bones rooted into the ground. Really exaggerating that movement in the upper back and the upper shoulders. Do that a couple more times. Just bringing awareness to the spine, to the body, check in. And then as you're ready, come back to center and use the hands on the knees to just roll the shoulders out a few times, creating some leverage. And then roll the shoulders forward a few times. Again, just bringing awareness to that space. And then just gently come back to center and find some stillness. Close the eyes, take an inhale. And exhale. Just let it go. Coming into this present moment and just getting ready for our practice. Good. Go ahead and open the eyes. We're going to bring the hands behind the hips just for support, and you're going to take your feet wide. So the idea here is to keep the opposite leg, the leg that's not moving, nice and stable and rooted into the ground. So we're going to start with a little knee ankle mobility. We're going to roll to the right inner edge of that right foot, keeping this left knee rooted and grounded, pressing that right knee in just ever so slightly, and then coming back to center. Same thing, that right foot roots down. We're going to roll to the inner edge of that right foot, pressing the knee in, and come back to center. Press the right knee in, rolling to the inner edge of that foot, and come back to center. The feet are very important here, and they will be throughout our entire practice. Take it to that left side. Come back to center. One more each side. Try to feel that all the way up into that hip. And to the left, coming back to center. Bring the hands back to the knees, and now just lift the chest here. And exhale, round through the spine. Really roll those shoulders in and hollow out the chest. Do that one more time. Inhale, lifting the chest, lift the gaze. And exhale, roll back. Good, adding on. So bring the feet back in line with the hips, setting up, resetting into that foundation. And from here, I want you to start to take your arms and start to pull back. So we want to keep the spine long, but start to lean back, getting that core involved. Keep your feet rooted down. We're going to start with that right hand. You're going to reach it up and back behind you. Look behind you and just tap off your mat and come back to center. Good. Left arm is going to reach up, rotate the gaze, rotate the shoulder, tapping the corner of the mat or off, and come back to center. Good. Do that again. Reach up with that right arm. Look behind you. Just tap the pinky to the ground. Come back to center, keeping the belly nice and strong. Same thing. Left side. Tap and come back to center. One more time each side. Feel that belly. Feel that core. Come back to center. Don't forget to breathe. Last one. Come back to center and pause. Good. From here, start to roll all the way down onto your back, bringing the arms down by your side and making those little adjustments. So you want your feet to stay pretty long. With the knees bent, just bring the arms down, close the eyes and pause. Feel the backside, feel the core. So from here, I want you to reach your arms up and overhead. The palms up, take a stretch through the upper body, and then bringing the arms down by your sides, pause here. Walking the shoulder blades together, I want you to flex your feet, so lift your toes off the mat, so you're pressing through the heel. Start to lift your legs. So coming into this bridge variation, squeeze the glutes. Should feel your hamstrings turn on here, and then gently release the hips. Now from here, roll to the outer edges of your feet. So let the knees open, pressing through the outer edges of your feet all the way to the pinky toe. Lift the hips again. Feel those inner thighs turn on, squeeze your glutes. So we're going to move through that together. Bringing the knees back, lift the toes, pressing through the heels, lift the hips, bringing the hip bones in line with the knees. Release the hips. Open the knees, open the feet, pressing through the outer edges of the feet. Lift the hips, squeeze the glutes. Again, coming back to center. Keep the toes up, pressing through the heels. Lift the hips, squeeze. Gently release the hips. Open those knees. Let those feet press down to lift you up. Coming back to center. Release the hips gently again. Breathe as you breathe. Lift the hips. Toes stay up. Open those feet. Open those knees. Lift the hips. And come back to center. One more time. Good. Feel those hamstrings turn on. Feel those glutes turn on. Opening those knees, lifting those hips, and coming back to center. Walk the feet in and pull your right knee into your chest. So from here, start to lighten up through that left foot. So we're going to stay on the ball of that left foot. You're going to extend your right heel. Find a quick hamstring stretch here. And then switch. So planting the toes towards the mat on that right foot and extending the left toes. And you can let your foot relax or keep the toes pointed. Feeling a little bit of a different stretch as you move the feet. Switch sides. And switch again. So holding the back of that leg to support the leg. And just alternating this stretch. Let it feel good. Good. 2 more. One more time each side. Good. And then pull the knees in. Good. You're going to grab for the inner knee. Start to lift your chest. Start to use your hands on the legs to sit up. Lifting the heart, and then start to round through that spine. We'll do that again. Reversing that action. Come all the way down. Taking the knees with you. Pull the knees into the chest. And then control. Use the hands behind the knees for that little bit of support, but using the core to lift up. Do that again. Rolling down one vertebrae at a time. As you get all the way back, pull the knees in, controlled movement, moving the whole body together, coming back up. Good. From here, go ahead and cross the ankles, coming to a tabletop position, coming to all fours, and just noticing that difference in the body so far, setting up this shape. So I want you to walk the knees in just a little bit shorter, tucking the toes, bringing the hands underneath you. Getting into the shoulders here, I want you to take your hands wide. You're going to take your left arm and you're going to spin it all the way down. So we're going to come all the way down to the top of that left shoulder. I'm pressing my shoulder into the mat. My palm is up, and then I'm going to take the left side of my head to the mat. I'm using my right hand for support, pushing that shoulder into the ground. And now if you feel okay here, start to take those right toes to the sky, using that right hand and the side of that head to stabilize the body. Good. Slowly come back to center. Pull the knee in. Rise up, and we switch. We use that left hand for support. I'm going to slide this right shoulder right underneath me, glue it into the mat, and look over to my left. From here, setting up your foundation, setting up the base, shifting forward into the head ever so slightly. See if you can extend those left toes back, finding your balance, finding your gaze. Good. Coming back to center. Let's do that one more time. Each side, your variation. Spin that left shoulder down. Let the left side of the head press down as you extend the right toes back. Breathe. Good. Pressing through that entire arm as you start to release. Rise up. Switching sides. Roll that right shoulder down. Pressing through the side of the head. Extend those left toes. Come back to center. And rise up. Bringing the hands back underneath you. Just notice the difference in the shoulders. Take a breath and reset. Good. I want you to flip the heels of the hands so that the fingertips face back, and pause here. So pushing through the heels of the hands and feeling the shoulder blades move away from each other, just shift the hips back ever so slightly. You can stay here, or you can start to shift forward and bend the elbows, pulling the elbows in towards the ribs, lean forward. Not coming all the way down, but just finding that stretch through the wrists and that strength through the arms. Pressing back up. Shift the hips back towards the heels. As you do that, drop your gaze down between your thighs. Good. Going to your edge, so shift forward. You can pause here, or start to bend the elbows and shift forward into the heels of the hands. Press up and shift back. Good. Do that one more time wherever you are, and just notice what you feel. Getting a nice stretch through the wrists, and then go ahead and take your hips back towards your heels and just roll out those wrists. Good. And then you're going to bring the wrists together. So the top of the wrists are going to come together. The shoulder blades move away from each other. The backs of the hands are touching, and I'm going to rotate. I'm going to rotate the hands in so that I can open the hands, feeling that all the way up into the shoulder, pressing the outer edges of the hands together, and then rotate back. So the tops of the hands rotate in and extend. The forearms want to reach. My triceps get involved here. Good. Do that again. You have to kind of think about it sometimes. Opening those hands, press the pinky edge of the hands together, and then rotate, coming back to center. The tops of the hands press together. Good. And then release that. Good. Come back to tabletop. And here I want you to bring the tops of the feet flat and scoot those knees just a little bit closer. So taking a little bit of a shorter tabletop. We're going to keep the arms nice and strong. From here, we're going to get into the ankles and the feet now. So pull the belly in. And from here, I want you to press through the tops of the feet so much that your knees lift off the mat. Good. Gently release the knees down to the ground. Now tuck the toes under and do the same thing. Lift the knees, hover those shins, feel the core get involved. Keeping those arms nice and strong. Then release the knees, bring the tops of the feet flat. Press through the tops of the feet, lift the knees, and release. Tuck the toes and do that again. Belly stays nice and strong. Lift the knees. And release. Tops of the feet flat. One more time. Lift the knees, pressing through the tops of the feet, stretching those ankles. And release. Take the hips to the heels. Bring the arms down by your side. Bring your forehead to the mat. Just pause here. Take a breath in and let it go. Beautiful. Good. Come back to a tabletop position. Tucking the toes under. Start to lift your knees off the ground and bring those hips towards your heels. Good. So staying on the balls of the feet, and then you're going to shift forward, bringing the knees back down. Take the shoulders over the wrists. Good. Again, tuck the toes under, taking the hips back towards the heels, lifting the knees, finding some length through the arms, and then release the knees. Shift the shoulders over the wrists. Do that one more time. Putting it all together. And then release those knees, shifting shoulders over wrists. From here, tuck your toes and come into downward facing dog. Take a moment to just check in with this shape. Notice the difference in the body so far. Lift the heels. Just stretch out those feet. Take whatever organic movement feels good here for a moment. Beautiful. From here, I want you to start to pull your right heel in towards your right glute. So the right knee is going to bend. And we're going to find some hip circles with that right knee. So keeping the left leg where it is, keeping the arm strong. We're in this down dog shape, and we're just using that knee to rotate the hip up and around. Good. Pulling that upper thigh to the low belly as you come back to center. And then start to use your core to step through to a lunge. Pause here. Good. So stacking that knee over the ankle for now. Just pause. From here, bring your back knee down, reach your arms up. Adding on to this, we're going to bring those arms forward out in front of you, pick up your back knee, so pressing through that left heel. From here, we're going to find a twist, so just open that right arm, and then bringing it back to center. Release your left knee, control that movement. Inhale, reach the arms up. Back to center, arms reach out in front of you, stand strong on that front leg, press your left heel back, engage that hamstring, opening the right arm, follow the gaze, come back to center. One more time, let that left knee drop. Inhale, reach the arms up. Good, bringing that back to center, pick up that back knee, open that arm, coming back in. Good. Start to straighten your right leg. Bring your hands to your hips. Pause here. Get your balance by pressing down and forward into that right foot. You can step that left foot in an inch. And then with the belly in, the hands on the hips, start to come down, working on getting the upper body parallel with the mat. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Good. Squeeze your left glute as you come back to center. And then press down and forward into that right foot. Get the quad involved as you come halfway down. The elbows point out to the side. Lift the chest. And one more time, coming all the way down. Release the hands to the mat and let your forehead drop over that right shin. Good. Bend your right knee. Plant your palms. Reaching the right leg high this time. Straight leg. Stretch it out. Let it go. And release. Down dog. Notice the difference. Good. Inhale that left leg up. Bend the knee. And start to take those hip rotations on the left side. Keeping the knee bent. Pulling the heel to the glute to keep the leg strong. Rotating through the knee, through that hip. Good. Find two more. Keeping nice controlled movement. And then using your core, step through to that lunge, placing the foot between the hands, bringing the back knee down. Pause. Inhale, reach those arms up. Good. Exhale, bringing those arms out in front of you. Pick up that back knee. Open that left arm. Come back to center. Release the knee as you reach the arms up. Good. Arms come out in front of you. Pick up that back knee. Open that left arm. Twist. Coming back to center. Release that knee. Arms reach up. Nice controlled movement. Good. Again, pick up that back knee. Open that left arm. Come back to center. And bring that down. Last time. Pick up that back knee. Open the arm. Come back to center. And release that knee. Good. From here, coming on up, straighten that left leg, bringing the hands to the hips. And again, make those adjustments. Staying on the ball of that right foot, press down and forward into that left foot, keeping the belly nice and strong. Back is neutral, coming down halfway over that left leg, and then lift up. This takes some control and practice. Feel that wobble, feel that shake. And just try to control it. Good. Two more. Good. One side's always going to feel a little trickier than the other. Like I always say, come halfway down my left side. It's always a little bit off balance. Coming back to center, pause here, and then coming over that leg and just stretch it out. Good. And then bend that knee, plant those palms, sweeping that left leg high. Let it go. And release. Downward facing dog. Just pause. Good. From here, reach your right leg up to the sky. Step your foot wide to the outside of your right hand now and come into this runner's lunge. Pause here. Good. So just feeling a stretch through those hips. I want you to bring your left hand in a little bit closer. And from here, we're going to rotate on the feet once again. So you're going to rotate to the outer edge of your right foot as you rotate the outer edge of that left foot. Let the hip drop. That left hip's dropping down towards the mat, using the hands for support, and then come back to center. So I roll to the right side of that right foot, getting onto that heel, rolling to the outer edge of that left foot, and let the hips drop. Just find your end range of motion and pause there. Coming back to center. Good. Using the whole body. Do that again. Rotate the feet as you let that left hip drop down towards the mat. And come back to center. Step back to your downward facing dog and switch. Take that left foot forward. Pause to the outside of that left hand. And then I'm using my right hand for support, for leverage. I'm going to rotate all the way onto that left heel and all the way onto the outer edge of that right foot, allowing the hip to drop. Coming back to center, rotate to the ball of that right foot and stand on your left. Do that again, rolling to the outer edge of both feet as you let that hip drop. And then coming back to center. Good. Do that one more time. And coming back to center, step back to your downward facing dog. Pause. Good. Adding on to that, reach your right leg up. Step wide to that runner's lunge and pause. So we're going to come back to that motion. So rolling to the outer edge of both feet, allowing that hip to drop. And now adding on, I'm going to come back to that lunge position. I'm going to start to rotate the right toes in as I rotate my left heel now to the sky, coming into the Skandasana Lunge. And I'm using my hands for support here the entire time. Nice and slow, moving that left foot back to that lunge. The right toes move forward. Good. And now rotate. Rotate to the left. Good. Coming back to your center. Pause. Do that again. So spinning those right toes in, spinning to the left heel, allowing that hip to drop as much as you can, pushing that heel into the ground. Again, using those hands for support, and then rotate the feet. Now you can start to rotate all the way over, letting that left hip drop once again. Do that one more time. So the feet have to move, rotating those left toes up, and then rotating back into that hip. Good. Come back to center, reset. And again, we're just practicing this movement for now. Step back to your downward facing dog. Let's try the other side. Reach that left leg up. Step wide to that runner's lunge. So putting it all together here. I start to rotate on that left heel, letting that right hip come down. And then rotating once again. The left toes rotate as the right heel rotates. The toes point up, coming into that Skandasana Lunge. Again, moving the feet first. Rotating to that right hip, let it drop. And then rotating the left toes, rotating that right heel, coming into that Skandasana. One more time, moving the entire body together, being aware of what's going on, and coming into that final Skandasana Lunge. Spin those toes up, use those hands, and then come back to your center, reset, step back to your downward facing dog. Good, take a breath in, lift the heels. Go ahead and drop down to the knees. Good, crossing the ankles, and come on to your back. Scooting to the middle of your mat, and we'll just roll onto our back to let everything settle. Introducing new movement. Release the arms, just let everything absorb as you drop the knees to the right. Look over your left shoulder and just pause. Good, rotating back and switching sides. And coming back to your center and just extend that right heel as you release the left foot to the ground. And gently switch. Noticing the differences once again. Coming back to your center, take your feet nice and wide, let your knees fall together, and close the eyes for just a moment. Allowing everything to settle, everything to relax. On your next inhale, pulling your knees into your chest, just rotate over to one side. Pausing here for just a moment as you feel all the differences. And then pressing yourself up. Coming to the knees or crossing the legs. And as always, just sealing in our movement today. Bringing the hands together in front of your heart, bowing your chin to your chest. Take a breath in and just notice all the differences in the mind, the body, and the breath. Give yourself that honor and that grace for showing up, for taking the time, for carving out the space. Bringing your thumbs to your forehead, lift the gaze and find gratitude here for whatever it is you're grateful for. And with that gratitude, we bow to this practice, to all things. Namaste. Great job today. I'm so excited to see you tomorrow. We'll keep adding on to this and getting better and better every day. Ciao.